2 minutes.
Hey, everybody. My name is Tara, and we are excited to have you tonight. Couple reminders before we get to our guest is if you've got questions for her, we hopefully have some answers. So don't forget to type them out on our channels, and we'll be sure to ask them. But on to you, Sara, with an H.
Hello.
Yes, we got a cool thing. Sarah, Tara. Oh, look at Sarah, so excited. She's like, "Hey, I'm here." So we got Sarah, Tara, and Sarah tonight, and Sarah is my next door neighbor and the coolest chick ever. And one day she's like talking to me, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm like a total TikTok influencer. I've got like this." I'm like, hold up. I'm like, and of course my sons were like, that is so cool. And I'm like, you have to be on our Thriving Females. So I have talked her into coming on and telling us how she got on this big adventure. But before we get into this, our other host, Amy, will be popping on in the middle of this. So that's what happens with life sometimes. So that I'm just letting y'all know. But Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes. So tell them and everybody, I know you've given me bits and pieces, and I find it really interesting how you actually got into the TikTok world of influencing and becoming famous with Disney and so on.
I definitely don't think I'm famous, and I wouldn't consider myself like an influencer, but I started off because I was living in Arizona and basically we would come out to Disney World all the time. I was raised in a Disney household. You know, we came on vacation all the time. I lived out in California. We went to Disneyland all the time. And we kept coming out here and said, it would be wonderful to live in Florida again. I went to college here, and I just was really drawn to it. So in 2021, we came in April, and I applied to the Disney company, and they basically held their arms open and said, come on down. So we decided after we sold our house in Arizona to up and move to Florida, because you have one life, right? You might as well make it happy and go to the most magical place on earth. So I became a cast member and worked there briefly, I will say, because sometimes being a cast member, sometimes visiting a place is better than working for a place. Do you know what I mean? So it was an experience of a lifetime. I literally, if there's Disney people on here, I got to stroll down Main Street, nobody down there, be all by myself, you know, in the early hours of the morning when the lights are on. And I may or may not have taken a few videos there. And I did a couple of videos in my car, and I decided, I'd seen TikTok. I didn't really know how it worked. I'm a little bit older than most of the people on TikTok. Maybe not now, but I did a couple of videos, and one took off. And I was actually at work. I did it in the morning, and I was practicing in the car my hi friends, you know. And by the time I got on my break, about 2 hours later, it had over 30,000 views. So
can we pause right here? Because we have that video. And to me, it's not like I've watched some of your other videos. There's so much to it, but am I like missing something? Is there like, there's not a whole lot on it, but it blew up. That's what blew me up.
So that's a different video. This is my Ratatouille video.
Okay.
Yeah. This video really blew up.
So just that little bit blew up.
I had 4.5 million views on that video.
I'd like, Tara, can you read what it says, or do you know what it says? Do you remember?
Yeah, so it says, when you exit the Ratatouille ride, you go from being rat size back to human size. Disney details.
Yeah.
So Sarah, explain why that went to 4.5 million views just by that little thing, because I don't know.
I think it's a ride that a lot of Disney people have gone on. It's a newer for Disney ride. And I think that people that go to Disney, sometimes they just go for the rides and they don't look a little bit deeper. And they don't realize that all these things were put in place by Imagineers, which are like their creative team. And everything has a purpose. Everything has something, some kind of meaning, some kind of something behind it. And so what I noticed after I had another video, a previous video do really well, and I started getting into the TikTok scene, was that people weren't really showing the Disney secrets, the Disney details from that perspective. So I kind of took off with that and released that video, and that's what happened. And a lot of people wouldn't look at the floor. And so I became known as the Disney floors girl.
Oh.
Because if you go throughout Disney, there's actually a playlist in my TikTok that talks just all about the floors, like different floors all around Disney. I know it sounds crazy, right?
But is there okay, for like Tara, who loves the Disney, what is so fascinating about the floors? Because obviously 4.5 million people notice that floor.
I mean, some of the comments were not in the most positive light. They said, "Oh, Disney adults are crazy," which is a term I had never heard of before I moved here. I guess they mean a lot of like millennials, childless millennials, and they're just fanatical about Disney. I am not that. I have a child. We go to Disney all together as a family. I think that because it's something you overlook, but it's in plain sight and it has meaning behind it. And then you look at the ride and you go, okay, I'm in the ride vehicle itself. I'm an oversized rat. And everything's really big around, oh, I'm supposed to be a rat. So it continues when you have your 3D glasses that are reflective like a rat's eyes. And then you take those off and you look down and everything's still big. And then all of a sudden, as you're walking out, it gets smaller. So then.
So did you know that, Tara?
I knew about the ride, but now I want to go back and look at the floor.
Talking about the floors, and we're going to go back on your story. Is there any other floors for all the Disney watchers out there that you think it should look at?
I think that there are a ton of little details, even in the new Moana attraction, where Hey, you can see where they actually take implants and put his feet on the floor up to where you can find him in the rocks. In Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, they have droid lines going through that they actually took a mold of the original droid that was in the original Star Wars movie and scraped it along the cement so it would have like droids were going through Black Spire.
So I have to say that as somebody who's pretty excited about Disney, and I have a sibling who is equally, if not more excited, we go crazy over these little things and send these silly little videos to each other all the time where we're like, oh my God, now we have to go on this ride again. Oh my God, now we have to go to the park again. And it's like, oh, I guess we got to go again so that we can check out what.
It's almost like it gives you an excuse, right? It gives you an excuse to be like, I never noticed the Pizza Planet truck in the Remy ride either until my son pointed it out. Now he notices these things. He wants to be an Imagineer when he grows up.
Oh, I love that.
So
wait, what's the Pizza Planet thing?
There's if you go into the first scene of the Remy ride is chock full of little secrets. And you look over to the right-hand side, up in one of the windows is a Pizza Planet truck, like a shadow of it. So in every
that's the Pixar thing where they
in every Pixar movie, there's a Pizza Planet truck.
Yeah.
And that dates back to, I believe, Toy Story.
Yeah. That was the first one.
So there's something there. Really, Hollywood Studios is full of those things. Even the UPCs on Slinky Dog Dash, they actually have a date on it. And the numbers on the UPC are the numbers of when Hollywood Studios opened and when Toy Story Land opened. Oh, so it has like the date.
I know, but it's all these little facts that we all go crazy over. Mm-hmm. Like we like to do the hidden Mickey thing, and that's like a whole nother. I mean, that's what's fun with Disney is that you can go for rides or you can go for, you can
go to Disney and see something that you've never seen before after you've been there 20 times. So when I started really getting into more TikTok and more into the community, I would live stream there and I would take people on walks through the parks. And show them, especially like in Epcot in World Showcase, when it wasn't so populated. I think now a lot of the live streamers, they go on rides and stuff. I didn't really do the rides. I wanted to show people more of the secrets, the little Easter eggs.
Yeah, that's what Bree Walters says. Those Disney Easter eggs are the best.
They are the best. They are really, really fun.
So Amy, welcome. Welcome, Amy. We said you were going to be hopping on a little late.
I'm here. And I'm like, I hear your Toy Story and Disney is for everyone, right?
Yes.
I mean, no matter what age you are, if you've been on a ride, you could be on it 10 times and see something and experience something different, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We started going a lot too, because my son has autism, and it was a comfortable, safe space for him when he was growing up. He didn't really speak well, and they had a special pass that they have for people with disabilities, that he can wait outside of the line, and when that time is up, he can come in. So it made it easier to go into there. Now he we just go like regular, but it's really catered so much to families and being able to have this wonderful experience that's safe.
That's true. So Sara, so that one video took off like 4.5 million views of the floor. Like, what?
What was it? 5 seconds? Yeah.
5 seconds?
I believe it was a 5-second video.
Okay, so who did that? Like, is this like diehard Disney fans that just focused in on you then? Like, oh my God, I love this.
No, it actually was not. There was a lot of hate on that video, to be honest.
Really?
There was a lot of criticism of people just being crazy, and we even look at the floors, and there was a lot of division. There was some that said, oh, that's really cool. And then a lot said, well, it could have been more gradual. And I said, but that's like the magic. You just go from one to the other, But
isn't that funny? All those people that had to criticize made those views go up. Yeah, so it helped you. So when you did that video and you saw that and you were like, did you go, aha, this is I'm onto something? And then did you think, I'm going to start doing Disney videos?
Yes, I knew that the Disney secrets was going to be, floors in particular were going to be a big thing that I was going to continue doing.
It's your forte.
Because people were literally asking for more and saying, what else do you have? Can you take us through the parks? And I never knew that there was such a big draw to that, but there definitely was.
Now, clearly you had some magic in your back pocket then, right? I mean,
I must have.
Right? Let's put a little more fairy dust out there for everybody to enjoy. I'm thinking. Yeah.
And being a cast member, I think people were enthralled with that. People are very wondering what it's like to work for the Disney company at that time. Especially at that time, it was still the wind down of the pandemic, and we weren't at full capacity. So it was really interesting to, get to show people around that couldn't go and haven't been able to go in years.
So Sara, when you got all these followers, did you find a lot of people I don't know, on TikTok, can you send personal messages?
Yes.
So did you get a lot of personal messages like, tell me this, tell me more?
I gained a lot of followers from it, and I had some personal messages. A lot of times back then you had to be friends with them. So you had to be mutuals for me to be able to even see it. And now you'll see that there's a message request. But I try to answer every comment that I get and every message that I get in a personal way, because that's just the person I am. I'm not out here for fame and money and any of that. I'm 47 years old, and I just wanted a community that enjoyed Disney and enjoyed, talking amongst themselves. And I think that some of my followers have become friends with each other.
Oh, that's cool. So Sara, then you branched off. So continue with your story. You had Disney, and then it kind of branched off to other things. Tell us about that.
We moved to St. Augustine, which is why I was so brief with the Disney company. We moved to St. Augustine. My spouse got a job here. And so a big passion of mine is cooking. So I kind of tried to recreate some of the Disney recipes. I have a publishing company that actually sends me cookbooks and asks me to feature them on my TikTok, which is really fun.
Oh, very cool.
And I may or may not be in the works of creating my own. So that's fun.
We heard it here first, a little bit of it.
So I did a lot of cooking stuff because that's a big passion of mine. Before any of this, I was a food and beverage director in boutique hotels. So I like to share a little bit of everything. I call myself a no niche Nelly now. Like I don't really have a niche. I kind of just do whatever.
Love it all.
Yeah, and I show a lot of Florida stuff because wherever we live, we're kind of gypsies. We've moved around the country a lot. And we've gone to the Keys, we've gone, on cruises, we've gone down to Miami, and we like to show just different adventures that people might enjoy. And St. Augustine's definitely, we have tons of adventures here. So whether it's the beach or downtown or just in my house, I kind of just show a little bit of everything.
So Sara, you had enlightened me on a few things on the world of TikTok and influencing. Like, for instance, you told me that you can only have 10,000 friends. Like you could have 1 million followers, but you're only allowed 10,000 friends, correct? You can only follow that.
So I can only, and in each individual person can only follow up to 10,000 other people. It doesn't matter how many followers I have, but those people individually and myself can only follow up to 10,000.
I thought that was interesting because you see these 1 million followers, but then they can only have 10. So tell them how, like that, because we do hear it. TikTok does pay you sometimes. How does that work? How do they pay you? Is it when you advertise something or followers? What happens?
You have to have, I believe, over 10,000 followers at this point to become a part of the TikTok creator program. And it's not a lot. People are not living off TikTok or what TikTok pays you. YouTube pays a lot more because it has ads. TikTok has started TikTok Shop, which is basically a way for them to sell things, for brands to sell things. So they reach out to creators to try to do that for them. So for instance, Sara knows we went to Disney a week ago and we came home and she was like Santa Claus at my door after she collected all my packages from TikTok Shop. And it was just basically them sending me stuff saying, hey, can you do a video for me? Some of them will pay you along with, a certain portion of like commission with the sales.
So can you remind us, how long ago did you start your TikTok video journey?
I started in September of 2021.
Okay.
So just recent. Well, so I think this is a funny one. And so if we have any listeners that could help Sara out on this, she shows me she got a lithium battery, just a lithium battery. And they said,
so random.
Use it on a TikTok video. Like, I thought it was the funniest thing. Like, what are you going to do with a lithium battery? So if any viewers out there have
I looked it up. Apparently you can use it for ECVs in the park. So that would be a good thing, if you needed an extra battery or for the kids' little John Deeres, or
yes. I said, well, do they want you to hook it up to anything? It was just the box of lithium battery. Yeah. And I was like, this is crazy. So,
I get sent some really off the wall things,
What's the weirdest thing? Now I got to ask.
I think that was one of the weirdest.
The battery.
That was one of the weirdest things I've been sent.
What's
one of the greatest things?
What is the what?
What's one of the greatest things? One of the things that you go, oh my gosh, this is the best ever.
I really like the cookbooks, but that's just me. I really like how they go along with the seasons or different movies. They do a really good job. Do you want me to show one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is,
you've got it right there.
We're all in. Oh, there you go.
So they're really nicely illustrated, and honestly, I would buy this myself, and I'm not trying to plug their company or anything, but it's just really cute. And they have them I've been sent probably almost 8 or 10 of them. They shop right now, I believe, is sending me like a big Christmas blanket. I mean, just very random things. And then someone else is sending me a tripod that face tracks. So when I'm doing cooking videos, I can look and it'll track me.
Oh, like the owl camera.
Oh,
or Nest.
I'm looking forward to that
on here.
It might make me dizzy. It might make me dizzy.
Hey, she got a juicer just recently. A juicer.
I did get a juicer. I did.
Yes.
I thought you said a producer, and I was like, whoa, you are big time now.
And a producer.
If I did, I'm producer.
And she's got an alcohol to taste, which I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
She's like, open the fridge and it's in there. She had a cute little video. I thought that was. So,
I did get
some of the things that people don't realize is you just get the product, and they could sell 1 million of these items and you just get the product. Correct?
Sometimes you'll get a commission. It just depends, it just depends. It's in they'll send you a briefing and you basically sign a contract with them. And if you don't fulfill what they want you to do, I've been sent random things before without even asking, which is a little bit interesting, but I'm kind of like, how did you get my address? But I think they're brand sharing. So that's
so. Do they reach out to you first, Sarah, or do you contact them? Or are people just reaching out to you?
Both. It just depends. Like if I have nothing going on, then I'll look through and I'll reach out. If I really like a product, and I get as many no's as I get yeses. So if someone is watching that is discouraged, I know people with 1 million followers that get just as many no's as yeses. So it doesn't hurt.
I was just going to say, what do you love most about the overall TikTok platform? Is there something that really kind of pulls you in?
I like the ease of it.
Than others.
I do have an Instagram. I do have a YouTube. I'm not active on YouTube really. It's very hard to break through on YouTube, and it's incredibly hard to break through on Instagram too. So I like the ease of use of TikTok. It's a little bit more personal, I think. You can get through it a little bit better, and you can also get in contact with people a little bit easier.
So I want to ask something that may be a little bit difficult, but can you talk a little bit about what you're doing with your son with social media? I mean, like you're living the TikTok dream, and you've seen the negatives and the positives. And so talk to us kind of as a parent now.
So I've only recently started showing him a little bit more. I used to show the back of his head only. And that was to protect him. He's now 11 years old. When I started, he was 8 years old. I felt like that was just a little bit too young. At this point, he wants his own TikTok, which absolutely not. You can't even be on TikTok at that age, but the internet can be a rough place. I've tried to educate a little bit on struggles that we've been through as far as autism goes, as far as I show him, and I get requested to show him from friends. I started doing a couple different vlogs, like, hey, this is, what we're doing today. And, and people were really interested in that. And I sat there when I'm editing it, I'm going, no one's going to watch this. Like, who am I? There's, in the big scheme of things, it's like, who am I to sit and watch? But people they liked it. And so my birthday was in September, and they wanted to send things to me, followers of mine. And I said, absolutely not. They asked, I said, if you're going to do anything, send something to my son. It was a little bit of a rough time for our family the last couple months. So we were away for a couple of days. We came home to like 10 packages, all gifts for him.
It's Christmas again, right?
Because they convinced me to do an Amazon wish list for him. Or I think I just had it up. I had it up for a little bit because I highly suggest people have an Amazon wish list for Christmas and birthdays, available to your family and friends. So you don't have to wonder what they want. You know, it's so easy. And these people, I can say that I really created a community on TikTok for people to come together. And so I showed him opening gifts up, and he's such a genuine kid. Sarah's obviously met him. He's a gracious, genuine kid. And he just was so happy and over the moon. It was adorable. I am very protective of him on the internet, for obvious reasons, though.
So good to hear that story.
So we got to show this. We can't show the whole video because it's kind of long, but this video was another one, the Florida man. We can just show a couple seconds of it. I think
I've never been so proud to live in St. Augustine, Florida, because this February we're hosting the first inaugural Florida Man Games. You guys, it's worse than what you think. Pool noodle jousting, outrunning the police, beer belly sumo wrestling, and more. Let's look at and more.
Oh, there's a whole list.
Pool noodle mud duel. Test your strength inside the Florida Man Games Coliseum, which is an above-ground pool made out of mud. And they're going to be wearing drunk goggles, jousting with pool noodles.
Sarah, how many views did you
Evading
have?
arrest. Jump over.
I think it's over 2 million now.
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
I think, no, I'm wrong. 1.2 million.
Yeah. Look at her. She's like, oh, wait.
And
I'm
they
sorry.
wanted an update. So I did another video with like more details because people were really into this. And even people who, you know, because Florida tends to be the
Home of the Florida man.
yes. And, you know, it causes a lot of, you know, fun conversations. And so they wanted more details. And they thought, you know, people were like, is this a real thing? I said, oh, honey, I'm going to live stream this entire thing. I'm going there.
It's a sacrifice I will make for everybody.
And people are like, I hope it's on pay-per-view. And I said, honey, no, I'm not charging anything because everyone in the world deserves to see this.
But Sarah, so you went from like Disney and you did like a hard switch to the Florida man. Now, did some of your Disney viewers go, hey, what about our Disney stuff? Did they only want you to stay to Disney, or did you gain all new followers with that?
When I shifted from doing a lot of Disney content, I'd say I lost some followers, most likely. I mean, and most likely some of them were like TAs, travel agents, who wanted the exposure. You know, TikTok is a place for people to make money and promote their businesses as well. And if, you know, that's how the world works, right? If I'm not doing anything for them, then they're out of there. So I think that I probably lost some and then I gained some with, you know, Floridians basically, or people that just thought the video was funny. Yeah, it's just, I do tend to throw Disney into random things like the video I just showed you earlier, Sarah, which you probably can't air on here because it has some questionable language. The video is basically I'm taking the ferry boat back. You know, it's at night and you see the all Magic Kingdom all lit up. And it's got some encouraging words with some colorful language.
I did have that one loaded, but I had it on tonight, so that'll be for. We'll just put the link up.
It's not just one or two, but it's several. So it's funny as heck. But that just blew up today, right? Or yesterday?
That was yesterday. Yeah, that one has 400,000 views, I think.
And you posted it yesterday.
It blew up and it blew up right away, and then it stopped for a little bit overnight, and then it did another big cycle. Like I woke up with
sleep, and they
I woke up with over 200 new followers, which is a lot. in one day.
That's kind of how it is here at Thriving Females. We wake up and we're like, whoa, 1,000 more women are watching this today.
I love it.
No. So what would you tell people, like your best advice, if there's always the younger generation, there could be the older generation. What would you tell them about using TikTok, because that's what you're good at, being an influencer, or how to use it to, like some tips, do's and don'ts?
I feel like be your authentic self. Because if you're not your authentic self, it's going to show eventually. If you're trying to have an online persona and then an in real life persona, those are going to collide at some point, and one is going to win. And it's not good for your mental health to try to have both. So TikTok, as we know, is extremely addictive. I have a timer on my phone to put it down, and I suggest everybody do that. It's kind of like setting a screen limit. Now I can override it, and I often do, but
the intention was
the
there.
problem is, it captures your attention, but you try and try, and then you get like really in your head, why am I not blowing up? Why am I not making it? Why did my video that's the same as this person's video? And you start comparing, when really you only have yourself to compare yourself to. I mean, that's in life too, right? So don't compare yourself to somebody who might be they might be in your niche, but a totally different perspective.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Sara, do you ever get other TikTokers is that what you call yourself, TikToker?
I have a very hard issue calling myself an influencer. So yeah, I'm not out here to influence anyone. I'm just a girl with a phone. You know what I mean? That's just trying to get some laughs, trying to meet some new people and share some fun things.
Do you ever get people ask you I keep saying TikTokers. Am I making that word up?
No.
Are there influencers right now? Do they ever message you and say, hey, let's collaborate?
In the very beginning, collaboration was a very big thing. People were trying to set up communities and say, this is one big community. And unfortunately, with social media, there's a lot of cutthroat. And I have friends that are influencers as well. And we will once in a while, I haven't collaborated in a very long time. Because you don't want to get your friendships and that mixed up. You don't want anyone to have hurt feelings over, if you're trying to really have a true friendship. So if it's a silly one and you don't expect anything out of it, sure. It's when I lived in Orlando, I used to hang out with a lot of other TikTokers, and
it's a word.
Yeah, it's definitely a word. I've noticed that, especially having a child, and at the time my child was with me, I was like the only one, taking care of him right at that moment. So he homeschools. So we would actually do school at like EBCOT. We would study China. Yeah, and we'd study the UK, and then we'd go all throughout that pavilion and showing him, and we'd have something to eat, and we talked about everything, and then we'd watch a movie discussing England, and then we'd watch a Disney movie like Peter Pan that showed England, so he could get it from all perspectives. And a lot of influencers are a lot younger than I am and do not have children. So it's a little bit of I'm in a little different situation than I would say a lot of them.
But that's maybe why you're so relatable to some.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
absolutely,
Peggy, one of our favorite viewers, who I believe is having a birthday or just had a birthday, is petitioning to be your manager.
Absolutely.
She doesn't need to collaborate. She just wants to help you run things.
Sara, you knew my mom was going to come on here and say something.
I'm waiting for another language to pop up.
I love it.
Sara, you have such a great, energetic crazy, amazing vibe. Like the minute I jumped in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. Okay, I'm getting the vibe. Yeah, you really, I mean, it's crazy amazing of the numbers and the followers now and what have you. But it's you, and being that authentic of the comment that you just indicated, that's a really great tip for our viewers to be yourself and do you. And yeah, your vibe and energy and just aura is awesome. It's addicting. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, Sara, thank you so much for joining. I know we went a little bit over on time tonight, but the conversation was so good.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And Sara, we will definitely put in all of the posts, your TikTok, because actually, if anybody's listening, Sara's going to help me do TikTok little things to lead people to here. Like Absolutely. She's already given good advice. So we're going to be TikTokers soon.
Watch out.
Before we leave for the night, we are very excited. After having a wonderful dinner with the three of us, we decided from Amy's magical mind that we are going to do some sharing of our favorite things. And so tune in next Wednesday, the 20th, around 5:30 p.m. It's a little bit earlier than we normally do, but that's perfect because it'll give you lots of time to be searching for more of these favorite things. But 'tis the season, and we wanted to bring some fun and joy for you all to close out the month.
Thank you, Sara, for being on. And thanks for being my anchor.
Nice meeting all of you.
You as well. See y'all later. Have a